the be-all and end-all of the conflict.
Yes, and Spencer, coming back to you, of course this information will be filtering through to the G7 leaders who are now in discussion. That comment from Benjamin Netanyahu about killing the Iranian supreme leader will also be coming through. How significant is this, that moment of instability and security being such a key point at the forefront of thinking currently with ongoing wars? Could the action that we're seeing in the Middle East potentially force the hand of the G7 leaders to make a statement or move further towards calling for de-escalation?
Well, I think they are calling for de-escalation. I agree that we can't necessarily count on a unified statement about much coming out of the G7 for reasons that have been discussed. I want to emphasize that as much as I hate everything that Khamenei stands for, the totalitarianism, the cruelty, the suppression of women, the torture chambers, etc., etc. The assassination of a head of state, it's hard to picture a situation in which that's justified. I suppose Hitler comes to mind. His own generals were trying to assassinate him for entirely understandable reasons. But even if you point to the example of Nazi Germany, many of the German people emerged from that war even after it should have become very clear just how culpable their own government was, and many of the German people themselves who had enthusiastically supported that government and looked out the other way during the Holocaust. But many of the German people, for many years after World War II, considered themselves to be the victims of that war in the face of aggression from the Allies. And a lot of that was encouraged and based on things like the massive bombings of German cities, including the most notorious among them, the firebombing of Dresden. And they referred to American and Allied airmen as terror flyers. So even the people of Iran, who have every reason to hate their government and to want to see it overthrown, I agree that it would be extremely risky to assassinate their leader, no matter how much they might hate him. I mean, if nothing else, they would, if there's to be an assassination, they'd want it to be at Iranian hands, as much as I hate to discuss such things. And certainly, if there's to be a change of government, people want to change their own government. The mere act of having your government change from the outside, we've seen again and again, breeds massive resentment. And whatever case you might make about the justice of replacing that government tends to be lost on people.
Yes, Spencer, I bring another quick update to you. This from the State Department of the United States, saying that their citizens should not travel to Iran for any reason and should depart Iran immediately if they are there. Of course, Israel said that any further strikes from Iran would lead to the burning of Tehran. That was a couple of days ago, and we have seen persistent strikes from Iran targeting Israel. Peter, we only have a short time left, but I do want to come back to you. Is this the last roll of the dice from the Iranian government and the Iranian leaders looking at the decimation that has played out at their military facilities, nuclear facilities, and now targets of the media and key officials within the government? Is this really their last opportunity to strike before Israel's dominance in the air sees a complete wiping out of all military activity that is possible?
Well, many of us, many political researchers, would like to think that that is the case. But it's remarkable how resilient the Iranians have been, and who knows what else they may have up their sleeve. It seems that they are getting weaker by the day. That's what appears to be the case. However, the fact that they're able to continuously, night after night, to inflict damage on Israel, whose Iron Dome system is probably the best in the world, but not infallible as we've seen, is quite remarkable and very depressing for Israel and her allies. It could well be the last throw of the dice, Joshua, but I reckon we'll be talking together in 3 or 4 days' time and still seeing this tit for tat nightly bombardment, albeit with Iran gradually getting weaker.
Peter, thank you ever so much for joining us. Also, thank you to Spencer Critchley. The updates we will continue to bring you from the G7, but also the developing situation in the Middle East. Those tensions are key talking points, along with many others that we will continue to bring you through the night. We'll be back very shortly.